Well, I mean, the Papworth Trust is an amazing organisation that provides a whole range of support for people with disabilities. I've worked with them actually on a range of things. They also do some of the work programme. I know there's been some controversy over that. But I think they're a great example of an organisation that really exists to help people. A fantastic group, and it's been great to work with them. The hustings was very good, as you say. People were absolutely crammed in. One thing that was quite good was to see more people than we had here 5 years ago. And I think that's great because too often people with disabilities don't have a say. I mean, we know that they don't vote very much. But also people who care for them often don't get a say because they're so busy caring. And I hear this time and time again when I talk to carers organisations that the carers are so busy they don't have time to feed into any of the consultations. Yeah, so I've had something like 32,000 pieces of casework since I was elected, which works out to whatever it is a day. And it covers a whole range of things. The biggest single block is about immigration, people having trouble with the Borders Agency, people trying to get visas to come in, extensions, all that sort of thing. The next two, and I'd have to check exactly what the ratio is, are housing and things to do with typically work capability assessments, or assessments in general for disability and ill health. And we've had far too many of those, and I've got many cases for constituents. I've won some, I haven't won some, but it's really given me an insight, and actually it's one of the things that no matter how much you go around as a politician, knocking on doors or trying to do things, actually working with a whole range of individual cases. I've probably seen more of what goes wrong in Cambridge as the MP than you can in almost any other way. Possibly the CAB exception, there's a couple of others. And actually, we work together very closely. Absolutely. My job as the Member of Parliament is to represent everybody in Cambridge, whether or not they're eligible to vote, whether or not they voted, whether or not they voted for me. And I have, on a number of occasions, of course, done casework for people who I know are politically opposed. And, it's the job as MP, which, we're very careful to keep a separation between that. So I take up cases on behalf of any constituent, and will do whatever I can to get a good outcome. I don't win everything I try to do. Normally it's not all about meetings with ministers, because obviously ministers don't have that much free time. So a lot of it is writing letters to ministers. And one of the things of being an MP is that if I write to a minister, it has to be the minister who responds. You don't just get a more junior civil servant. Now, I'm no fool, I hope. I know the letters are written by the civil servant, so I think you have done many of them. But the fact that a minister has to sign it means that they might actually pay some attention to it. So it's a really good way of raising an issue, not just with a civil servant, where the minister might be, blissfully unaware, but directly with the minister. And that's quite important. The same thing applies for written questions. When I table a question about an issue, the point often isn't what the answer is, it's to make sure that the minister has read the answer himself or herself. I have also set up meetings with ministers, in some cases going to London. There have been a number of examples where I took Rethink Mental Illness, for example, to see the Disability Minister, Mike Penning. I took the Chief Executive of the YMCA in Cambridge to see Ian Duncan Smith when the Tories were thinking about getting rid of housing benefit for under 25s. But it's also about getting ministers to come here, and in fact Norman Lamb, the Health and Care Minister, was here last week, as you saw, and I did give him a chance to talk to a constituent who particularly wanted to talk to him about a range of issues. Firstly, it was brilliant to have Liberal Youth there. We had something like 60 people come up for the weekend. Lots of door knocking happened. As ever, lots of people were out. That's part of it. It was a lovely day. I listened to all the other candidates saying what we find on the doorstep is always A, B or C. And actually I have to say I find it a much wider range of things. So you'll get everything from very specific local problems, and I find a lot of those. Again, I just feed them into the casework system and work on them, to a whole range of things. One of the great things about Cambridge, NHS comes up a bit, education comes up a huge amount, and a huge number of people are aware of the work that I did to get more money in for the schools here. But in Cambridge you'll also see anything else from, you do see immigration a little bit, not as much as some people say, issues about climate change, transport and housing are the two perennials, because they are such a huge challenge for Cambridge. Okay.